Imagine this. A man walks into a room. He is a man accustomed to conquest, a master of the predictable universe. His world is a chessboard, and he knows every opening, every defense, every endgame. This is the world of the masculine ego, the Jungian persona, the brilliant, functional, and ultimately fragile mask he has constructed to navigate reality. It is a world of logic, of straight lines, of cause and effect. It seeks to conquer, to categorize, to control. It thrives on predictability. And for his entire life, this ego has been his greatest asset. Then, he sees you, and the board dissolves. The rules vanish. The clock stops ticking. You are not a player on his board. You are the silent, living mystery that reveals he was playing a child's game all along. Your feminine mystery is not an act. It is not being coy or distant or playing hard to get. Those are the cheap tricks of the unintegrated woman, the desperate tactics of an ego-mimicking power. No, your mystery is a state of being. It is the natural, radiant byproduct of a woman who has done the grueling, solitary work of her own individuation. It is the quiet authority of a woman who has walked into the labyrinth of her own shadow and befriended the Minotaur. She does not need the external world to validate her, because she has built a cathedral within herself. Her energy is not a question seeking an answer. It is a statement, spoken in a language his ego cannot comprehend. This is the beginning of the dangerous dance. And the first move is his, an involuntary flinch of the soul. He feels not attraction, but a profound and unsettling disruption. His entire operating system, the logic that has guided his life, crashes. You do not fit into any of his pre-written scripts. You are not the damsel who needs saving, nor the goddess who needs worshipping. You are not the rival to be defeated, nor the prize to be won. You are simply whole. And your wholeness is a mirror that reflects his own fragmentation with a clarity that is both terrifying and mesmerizing. He is a conqueror who has just encountered a territory that has no interest in being conquered, and the foundation of his reality begins to crack. The ego, in its panic, makes its first predictable move. It attempts to intellectualize you. It retreats from the confusing territory of feeling and resorts to the cold comfort of analysis. You become a problem to be solved, a code to be broken. He will study you, dissect you with his questions, not to connect with you, but to neutralize you. He will try to figure you out, to find the childhood wound, the hidden trauma, the secret formula that explains your strange, sovereign peace. He believes your mystery is a performance, a more sophisticated strategy, and he is determined to expose the puppeteer behind the curtain. And what is your countermove in this dangerous dance? You have none. And that is your most devastatingly powerful weapon. You do not play. You simply are. You meet his probing questions with a calm, disarming honesty. You meet his attempts to categorize you with the fluid, unpredictable reality of your own being. You are not trying to be mysterious. You are simply so rooted in your own truth that his games and projections cannot find purchase. He is a master swordsman, lunging and parrying in a magnificent display, and you are the heir. His blade meets no resistance, and he finds himself off balance, fighting a ghost. The more he tries to pin you down with his logic, the more he is confronted with the maddening, beautiful truth that your essence cannot be captured. It can only be witnessed. And this powerlessness is the beginning of his obsession, the first intoxicating step in a dance that will either destroy his ego or set his soul free. The ego, having failed to colonize her with logic, changes its strategy. When it cannot conquer, it seeks to deify, for worship is the most subtle and absolute form of possession. This is the second movement in the dangerous dance, the projection of the goddess. He is no longer trying to solve the mystery. He is trying to own it by turning you into his personal religion. You cease to be a woman of flesh and blood, a complex human being with flaws and a life of your own. You become, in his mind, the living vessel for his anima, his own unlived, idealized feminine soul. You will feel this shift. The analytical scrutiny is replaced by an almost suffocating adoration. His language becomes absolute, poetic, and dangerously totalizing. You are the only woman who has ever. My life was a wasteland before. You are peace itself. Do not be seduced by this. This is not the language of a man seeing you. It is the language of a man seeing his own salvation and mistaking it for your face. He is not in love with you. He is in love with the feeling you ignite within him, and he has made you the sole gatekeeper to that ecstatic, terrifying state. The paradox of this stage is that the very mystery he now worships is the thing he must subconsciously seek to destroy. A goddess on a pedestal is a beautiful static object of adoration, but a real woman, a sovereign being, moves. She has her own life, her own friendships, her own sacred solitude. And every time you exercise your freedom, every time your world does not revolve around him, it is an act of blasphemy against his new religion. The mystery that once intrigued him now becomes a source of profound anxiety. Where do you go when you are silent? Who are you with when you are not with him? Your inner world, the very source of your power, is a territory he cannot map, a kingdom where he is not the king. And so, beneath the velvet glove of his adoration, the iron fist of his ego begins to emerge. A subtle possessiveness creeps in, a flicker of irritation when you choose a night with friends over a night with him, a hint of melancholy when you retreat into your creative work. He is not trying to be a part of your world. He is unconsciously trying to amputate it, to make his world your only reality. He is the dragon, hoarding the gold, and your freedom is the one treasure he cannot lock away. The dangerous dance becomes a tightrope walk. He is simultaneously worshipping your sovereign power and trying to dismantle it. He pulls you closer with his praise while trying to clip your wings with his need. This is the moment a woman who does not understand the dance becomes trapped. She mistakes his desperate need for devotion, his possessiveness for passion. She begins to shrink, to accommodate, to dim her own light to soothe his growing anxiety, and in doing so, she betrays the very mystery he fell in love with. The dance is no longer between an ego and a mystery, but between a captor and a willing captive. A mystery that can be contained is no longer a mystery. It is a monument. A monument may be beautiful, but it is dead. A woman who shrinks to accommodate a man's anxiety, who surrenders her sovereign world to soothe his ego, has betrayed herself. She has traded her oceanic mystery for the stagnant water of a garden pond. And the man, while feeling a temporary sense of relief and security, will eventually feel a profound and inexplicable boredom. He has captured the bird, but he has killed the song. The dance is over. But the woman who understands, the woman who is a conscious participant in this dangerous dance, makes a different move. She refuses to be a goddess on a pedestal. And when his ego, in its anxiety, tries to clip her wings, she does not rebel or fight. She simply continues to fly. This is the third and most crucial movement of the dance, the assertion of the self. This is not an act of aggression. It is an act of serene, unshakable self-love. She continues to honor her solitude, to nurture her friendships, to pour her life force into her own purpose. Her life remains her own. When he expresses his anxiety, his subtle possessiveness, she does not absorb it. A less integrated woman would feel guilt, as if her freedom were a form of cruelty to him. But the conscious woman knows that his anxiety is not her responsibility. It is his, and his alone. She will meet his insecurity not with accommodation, but with a clean, compassionate boundary. Her energy says, "I love when our worlds meet, but my world is not yours to conquer. Your fear is your own to navigate." This is not a rejection. It is the ultimate expression of respect. It is a refusal to participate in the lie that she is the source of his peace. She is tacitly reminding him that the only true peace must be cultivated within. For his ego, this is the ultimate crisis. Her refusal to be contained is a devastating blow. His adoration, having failed to possess her, now curdles into its opposite. The goddess he worshipped is now recast as a witch, The projection flips from the idealized Anima to the terrifying, destructive Kali. This is the stage of devaluation. Her mystery is no longer mesmerizing, it is secretive and untrustworthy. Her independence is no longer strength, it is coldness and emotional unavailability. Her self-possession is no longer power, it is narcissism. He is not describing her. He is describing his own terror. He is projecting the contents of his own shadow onto her because he cannot bear the wound she has inflicted on his ego. He will try to punish her with his withdrawal, his anger, his criticism. He is trying to force a reaction, to hook her into the familiar drama of a power struggle. He is unconsciously begging her to leave the dance of the soul and join him in the mud wrestling of egos. And what is her countermove? She lets him go. She does not chase, she does not defend, she does not explain. She does. She understands, as the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius wrote, that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. She refuses to dye her soul with the color of his fear. She allows his storm to rage, and she remains the calm, silent, and immovable I within it. She knows this is not the end of the dance. It is merely the moment the dance becomes truly dangerous and truly real. He has met her mystery, he has tried to possess it, and he has failed. Now he must confront the only thing left, the void of her absence. The void is the final and most potent partner in this dance. He created the space with his rage and withdrawal, expecting her to rush in with apologies and pleas, a reaction that would reaffirm his central importance. But she does not. She meets his absence with a silence of her own, a silence that is not a punishment, but a homecoming. She withdraws her energy from him completely and pours it back into the source. Her own life, her own purpose, her own soul. He is left utterly and completely alone with the echo of his own storm. In this silence, the work of alchemy begins. The fire of his anger, with no fuel from her reactions, dies down. The smoke of his projections clears. And in the stark, quiet light of her absence, he is forced to see the truth. The problem was never her mystery. The problem was his inability to stand in its presence without trying to control it. The source of his pain was not her freedom, but his own prisons. He is the one who is emotionally unavailable, unable to connect with a whole woman without trying to reduce her to a part. He is the one who is narcissistic, believing his anxiety should be the organizing principle of her reality. This is the moment of ego death, the dark night of his soul. It is the agonizing process of withdrawing his own projections, of taking back the disowned parts of himself that he had cast onto her. It is a solitary journey, and she wisely, lovingly stays out of it. And from this death, if he has the courage to endure it, a new man can be born, a man who is no longer defined by his ego, a man who understands that love is not possession, but witnessing. The dance has one final movement, the return. He will come back, not with the swagger of the conqueror, nor the grand pronouncements of the worshipper. He will come back with a quiet humility. The need to conquer has been replaced by a simple desire to connect. The need to understand has been replaced by a willingness to stand in awe. He is no longer threatened by her mystery, he is grateful for it. He understands now that her mystery is not a wall that keeps him out. It is the very space in which his own soul has room to grow. He no longer seeks to possess her world. He simply asks to be a guest within it, while finally beginning the hard work of cultivating his own. The dangerous dance between his ego and her mystery is over. In its place begins a new, more sacred dance. The conscious, collaborative dance of two whole souls, two sovereign kingdoms who have chosen to align. They dance not to become one, but to celebrate their eternal, beautiful otherness. His ego did not meet her mystery and win. It met her mystery and was transformed. And in that transformation, he did not lose himself. He found himself for the very first time